Hello everyone, Time to Grind here, and today I wanted to bring you guys another video game review, and this time we're going to be talking about Battlefield 1. Now, it came out officially for everyone on the 21st, which is today, but if you had Origin access, you were able to play it around like 9 or 8 days early, as long as you were kind of within 10 hours of gameplay, so you couldn't go past that. And then you also got the game early if you had the earlier enlisters edition. So I had the Origin access. I started paying for it $5 a month or whatever because it actually saved me money on the on the order of the game. And if I decide to get premium, that'll be even more money, so I'll actually be saving money. But either way, I've been playing the game for quite a while, and it's really, really fun, and I really wanted to make a review talking about it, what's good about it, maybe what's not so great about it. But overall, before I go into any details, I want to say that it is really a good game. It's probably, I've played a lot of Battlefields. I've played Battlefield 1, this one, Battlefield 4, 3, 2, or Bad Company 2, and then it was like Battlefield 1940, or some, it had like a 19 or 1840 something, I don't know. And for a couple of those, I've been part of the launch. With Battlefield 4, I experienced the awful launch that was that, and on top of that, I was playing consoles back then. And so, it was pretty bad, but from the launch that I've experienced, and I have played, with the, when it fully released, at like 11 o'clock my time, last night, and it's really, really good. There's a couple bugs to be expected because of how large scale it is, but there's nothing game breaking. It's some things like, after a match, the quit button disappears, and you have to kind of Alt F4 sometimes if you want to leave. It's a pretty big hassle. There's a few bugs with the create a class, or the loadout thing. It'll reset if you open up the battle log. They did confirm that you're gonna be able to do that in the main menu of the game, just not right now because of how buggy it's actually being right now. So there's a couple bugs here and there. It's not perfect, but it's nowhere compared to any of the other launches. It's actually a really good launch. So the first thing I wanted to kind of talk about, because when you first watch gameplay, or you first open up the game, I'm focused on the graphics, the graphics and the performance and the sound design and stuff like that, and it is so ridiculously amazing in this. The graphics look spectacular. The sound design is literally the best sound design I've heard in any game, and the performance is great. And it makes you so immersed because, everyone talks about having those Battlefield moments where, my best example was in Battlefield 4. I was climbing up this, concrete tower, going on the stairs, and there weren't any windows, and this helicopter was just kind of flying, he was kind of going up in the air, watching me, firing at me while I was, climbing the stairs like a horror movie. Or not a horror movie, an action movie, and I just looked at him and I sniped the pilot, and he crashed into the building and it all destroyed, and I got out of the rubble, and that was probably one of my biggest moments. But because of the sound design being so great and the graphics are so great, I mean, it is the most immersive experience in gaming, maybe besides virtual reality that I've ever experienced. As an example, I was playing with some friends, and we didn't know that a lot of the soldiers actually talk, kind of relevant to what's happening. So we were just playing, and we heard some soldiers in the distance start screaming, watch out for mortar fire, and we're like, wait, what? And then we hear these, realistic mortars, exploding and stuff like that near us, and it's really, really immersive, and it's insane how a lot of the times you can kind of forget what you're doing. So, and it runs great, it looks great, and when you were playing the beta, when I was playing the beta, there were a lot of memory leak glitches that a lot of people were having, where it was just using up all of your memory in your computer, and it got to a point where it was just completely frozen, crashed your entire computer. Not everyone experienced it, but it was definitely there, and the performance wasn't as great. And so for me, while recording at 60 FPS on medium to low settings on a lot of things, I'm able to get over 150 plus FPS while getting 60 FPS. There is the occasional kind of stutter, those only happen once every 10-20 minutes, and they only last for 2 seconds, so it's not bad at all, and I expect that to get better with more drivers coming out. Just make sure you do have the drivers installed, because when I wanted to play the game for the first time, it wouldn't let me until I installed my drivers, or like the new drivers. So I guess just make sure you do that, even if it's not forcing you to. It's always a good idea. So the next thing that is pretty important for a game is the actual gameplay. You know, it can have great graphics and sound design, but if the gameplay is not good, it's not going to be a fun game. And the gameplay is spectacular. You know, it plays a lot like all the other Battlefield games. I can't remember if it's the same engine or like they kind of revamped the engine or anything like that, but it plays like the other Battlefields, except in my opinion, I feel like the time to kill for some weapons, like when I was playing Battlefield 4, I mean, I might not, you know, be the most skilled or experienced in it, but when I was playing Battlefield 4, it felt like some guns, you know, like all the guns kind of were around the same time to kill. You know, of course there were outliers like shotguns and snipers and stuff like that, but overall they were kind of in the middle. In Battlefield 1, there are some guns that just, I mean, can destroy you. Like there's a shotgun for the assault class, like a trench gun or something like. I actually don't know if it's a trench gun. It's like a trench shotgun or something, and it can insta kill from like actually pretty ridiculous ranges. But then there's a lot of the guns, because they're kind of, you know, these old timey World War I rifles. They actually can take a little bit to kill. So I'd say overall the time to kill is a little bit higher than other Battlefield games, but if you're trying to compare it to Call of Duty or something like that, you know, the time to kill is gigantic because of how fast you actually die in Call of Duty. And that's not really a bad thing or a good thing. It's just kind of your preference, your opinion, whatever you prefer. I prefer different things in different games. Like I love CSGO, and the time to kill in that's pretty fast. You can get shot with armor with one shot with an AK to the head. So, you know, the gunplay is really great. And one thing that this game does so well is the map design. You know, I'm personally an infantry person, so I really prefer to like actually just do like, you know, military or not military combat. It's all military combat. More like man combat, where I'm just kind of on the ground. You know, I don't use too many tanks, and I do not use planes or bombers because I am so bad with those. But I just kind of like playing, you know, infantry, except for the horses. The horses make this game infinitely better, just in every way. Every time I can spawn on a horse, I do, and it's amazing. Horses make this game way better than it should be. But so, you know, the map design, you know, you have some maps like there was Metro in the old ones where, you know, it's pretty small. It's all infantry, or not all infantry, but mainly infantry. And, you know, it's kind of clustered and really close together. And you have maps like that, but you also have maps like Shanghai, or I can't remember the exact map name, but it's like something desert. It was the one that was in beta, and it's just, I mean, it's gigantic. And there's a lot of planes, a lot of bombers, a lot of tanks and stuff like that. But I feel like what every map does well is if they're a super big map, it doesn't completely prevent infantry from actually still having fun. Like on the desert map, the two middle points actually are really, there's a lot of buildings and stuff and cover, and it creates a kind of own little game in itself around those 2 points because of how well it promotes infantry. It's kind of hard for tanks to get into certain crevices there. Even horses have a hard time sometimes in some of the areas, and it really, you know, promotes you in that specific area at least to play infantry if that's what you're looking for. So whenever I play that map, I tend to, you know, I try to play the objective, but I try to spend most of my time at those points either defending or taking them because that's what I enjoy the most. Of course, if you're one of the guys that really love planes and tanks and stuff like that, and you get one of the really smaller maps, you know, you can't really be helped there just because you can't force big things into a small map but you can, you know, force small things into a big map. But there's only like one or two that have like that's really compressed like that. You know, we may see more in the DLC. But yeah, and one thing kind of piggybanking off of the gameplay is there is a new game, you know, there's a couple new game modes. You have War Pigeons and stuff like that, but there's one called Operations, and it actually puts you through 2 to 3 maps, and it's kind of like, you know, there's like little cinematics and talking about it, and it's really interesting because you feel invested from game to game rather than, oh, that game ended, we're on to an entirely new game. You know, it kind of carries over, and you're like, oh, you know, we won that last game, so you know, let's win this one and we'll be, you know, we win the thing or something like that. And there's kind of like a cool narrator and stuff like that, and it's really interesting, really adds a lot of variety to the game. and that's really, really great. And one thing, probably like the last thing I guess you can talk about gameplay, is the progression system. You know, progression systems aren't bad. They're definitely, like time to kill, complete preference. You know, there's some people that really prefer there to be no progression that changes gameplay because they want it to be super competitive. They want everyone to be on the same playing field the second you open up the game. And then there's some people that, you know, they really like a progression system. They like, you know, say in Call of Duty where you have to level up a bunch and then you get the weapons. In my opinion, for a more competitive game, I'd prefer something along the lines of CSGO where there's not really a progression system that affects gameplay. Because, you know, you don't have to worry about, you know, do I have a better, have I unlocked this attachment for this gun yet or something? Am I optimizing my loadout the best? And I think games like Overwatch do that very well as well because there's no, you know, there's nothing that affects gameplay that, you know, by playing more. It's all cosmetic, and I think that's the best way to go. So the thing is, you know, Battlefield 1 does have a progression system, but it's nothing like Call of Duty where you need to play, you know, you have to get to max level to even unlock the AK-47, and you know, that can take 100 hours possibly in some of the games, and so it's nothing like that. You know, you have your 4 loadouts, and you level each of the loadouts up separately, and just by playing and getting rewards and stuff, you unlock these things called war bonds, and they are what you use to buy weapons and new equipment and stuff like that. And you can only buy certain things that you have available to. So I think there's like every time you level up, you unlock a few more things that you can get with the class, but it doesn't take that long to max out a specific loadout. That way you can unlock everything. You know, I would probably say maybe around 30-40 hours. You know, definitely a large variety, you know, if you're what you're doing, if you're specifically only playing one class and stuff like that. But, you know, 30 to 40 hours and you will have unlocked every single thing. Like, not unlocked everything, but you'll be able to purchase everything with the war bonds. And then from there, it's just about doing medals and rewards to getting the things you like. But I would say, you know, it's not bad at all. And the game doesn't make it feel where, you know, everything feels pretty balanced, you know, in terms of weapons. It's not like, you know, oh, there's one thing that it's the very last thing you unlock on this class and it's super OP and the game is miserable because I don't have it. There's nothing like that I've experienced. Everything's pretty balanced. All of the loadouts are pretty balanced. And it's overall really, really good. A few gripes I have, I guess. One is just kind of about the medic class. They fixed it a lot since beta, but the thing is you can still hold down spacebar to kind of skip your revive. And a lot of the times, a lot of people are so used to do that. Like, it brings you back into the kind of menu screen where you can look at your loadouts on the battlefield, but it doesn't make you spawn any faster. But the way holding it down, it makes it feel like you'll respawn faster by doing that. And you don't actually. You'll have to just wait in the little map menu waiting to get your redeploy. And so I really think they fixed it where medics can now see anyone dead even if they're not requesting a revive. But a lot of the times people are so used to either holding down spacebar to skip or you know, they think it's actually going to respawn them faster, and I don't blame them because the UI is a little bit confusing on how it feels. So I really wish there was kind of maybe a button to notify someone like, hey, I'm coming to you, because you know, it can also be frustrating on the flip side if you're waiting for a medic that says he's 5 meters away or 5 feet or whatever it is, and it's like, oh, now they're 4, now they're 3, now they're 2, now they're 1, and they're standing on your body, and then they just start running away. It's like, why are you playing medic if you aren't going to revive people? But that's overall something more I feel like the community itself will learn. You know, I feel like that's also a lot of the newer players that might be new to Battlefield 1. Because of the fact of how great the atmosphere is. You know, World War I, we're no longer going into the future and playing laser guns and stuff like that. It's actually a legitimate, you know, it's World War I. It's really nice. And I haven't personally played the campaign yet, so I can't really give a review on that because I didn't want to waste my hours, I guess, my 10 hours I had on the campaign. But from what I've heard, overall people like it more than the other Battlefield campaigns. I have heard some flip side things where some people really don't like it. That's definitely opinion. I normally am not too into the campaigns of competitive shooters. But I've heard it's better than most other Battlefield campaigns. But I don't really have anything to say. I don't have the authority, I guess, to talk about it because I haven't really played it yet. But overall, I think Battlefield 1 is a spectacular game. I think I kind of stopped a while from buying, AAA title shooters because I had things like CSGO. And in fact, I'm still playing CSGO. I just started playing it again. Where it's $15 and it'll last you the next 15 years or something like that, and I haven't really been too much into the AAA title market, I guess, and this is kind of one of the returns of it to me. So I really hope Battlefield 1, I hope they maybe develop Battlefield 1 a little bit. I'm not, I'm expecting them to make a new game in 2-3 years, however long. But I really hope that this game maybe lasts a little bit longer than just a year and a half, 2 years. Of course, if you try to still play Battlefield 3, Battlefield 4, there's still a player base for it. But I really hope that they keep on trying to do it. And one good thing about the game is the progression system, actually. Not there's a custom or a customizable, what's the word? Cosmetic progression system. So how it works is there are like these battle chest things. I can't remember. Every game calls them different things. Loot crates, loot boxes, battle chests, battle crates, So whatever the equivalent is, because I get confused by all of the games nowadays that are doing these crate systems. But if you played Battlefield 4, there was like the whole battle pack, that's what it was. The battle pack system. And it was awful because you would unlock attachments and sights and stuff like that for your weapons, and you couldn't unlock them otherwise, so you'd have to get them from battle packs, and it was awful. It made the entire game just feel awful, honestly. And the battle pack system in this game is 100% completely cosmetic. So after the end of every game, it picks like 12 players, I believe, and it shows all the profile pictures of who got a battle pack, and you can open them, and what they do is they give you a cosmetic. So there's 3 different tiers of cosmetics. Or weapon skins. There's the normal one, then there's kind of like a epic one, and then a legendary one. I think it's like something. I think the first tier is called something, and the second one's like legendary, and the third one's like distinguished or something, or there's 3 tiers. I can't remember exactly what order they go in, and it's guaranteed to give you one of those. And the thing is unlike other games like Overwatch, where you have to get duplicates in order to get like a little currency. So in this, you can scrap anything, and with the scrap, you can't actually buy the cosmetics you want. You can buy 3 different types of the battle packs. You can first buy the cheapest one, which is the one that drops, which guarantees to give you one of the weapon skins, or you could buy a second one that's more expensive, and it's guaranteed to give you a skin from the 2 top tiers, or you could get one from, or the third most expensive one, and guarantee yourself to get a distinguished, the highest tier of skins. And the thing is on top of all of that, there's a chance that it'll, instead of giving you a weapon skin, it'll give you a puzzle piece for a melee weapon. And once you get, so right now there's like 2 different puzzles for the weapons, and they both cost 5 puzzle pieces. So I personally have only found 1 puzzle piece for one of the melee weapons. But once you get all puzzle pieces, the melee weapon unlocks, and it's yours, and it's really cool. And you can also get experience boosts and stuff like that. I really hope I don't get too many of those, because they don't help out getting more battle packs. So as of right now, I don't believe you can buy battle packs. They'll probably change that in the future. And if they want to charge for battle packs, I think it's fine. Because it's cosmetic. I prefer it to stay free because of the fact that they're charging DLC. They're charging for DLC. People are paying for premium. Unlike Overwatch, where they got the first thing, but they're giving the rest of the DLC for free for all of the future. So because Battlefield has premium, and they make games, it's not like this game's gonna be lasting for 10-15 years like Overwatch probably will. I really hope we see maybe not charging for battle packs, but if they want to, I know a lot of people will be happy with that because they can get the skins they want. But overall, the game is extremely fun. I would highly recommend it if you're into, FPSs. Of course, if you're into a MOBA guy, if you're a MOBA guy and you hate all FPSs, I probably wouldn't recommend this game to you. But if you like FPSs and you want to try going back to the old time World War I and use all the guns and go on cavalry and stuff like that, it's really fun. It's a really good breath of fresh air compared to Battlefield 4 and Battlefield 3 and all the new futuristic Call of Duties and stuff like that. And I would highly recommend this game. Now, I personally am not a believer in like the numbers, the number rating system, because I think we all, I may give a game a 10 if it just works perfectly, but someone else may give a game a 10 if it's like the game of the century. So I refrain from using number ratings for that kind of stuff, but I would highly recommend this game, you to buy this game, and depending, I'm not buying premium yet because they haven't released any of the DLC, but I probably will in the future if I'm still playing this game. And yeah, so I'd highly recommend you to play this game. And kind of a side note, I'm working on a Civ review right now, because that of course came out on the same day as Battlefield 1. So, be on the lookout for that in the future. And I have a lot of other projects that I'm working on currently. One of the ones I'm really hoping you guys enjoy. But yeah, so just stay tuned. If you enjoyed this video, then consider leaving a like down below and subscribing to see more gaming content news. And like always, guys, see you next time.